ladies and gentlemen of the universe, the next voice you hear.
Erik Nagel.
Guess this is as good a time as any to start the show.
Sure.
Why not? Welcome to It's Erik Nagel. That is me. 866-969-1969 is the phone number to get in touch with the program. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Matt OG.
Hello.
At Geek Stuff OG on the Twitter and Instagram. And Giddle Bass.
Yo, what's going on?
Giddles, how you doing, man?
I'm fantastic. How are you doing?
Wow, the music just disappeared.
Yeah, it did that. That's what happens when you play it for that long, Eric.
It just kind of goes away.
It just disappears.
Now you can kill the music. It's fine.
The music has had enough of this show.
I know, and we're at 8:04. And also, a buddy of mine for a while now. He works here at SiriusXM in the sports department, but we've done other projects and stuff together. Chris, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Why isn't that one working?
Oh, no.
Try that one.
Fail. There you go.
Okay.
Hey,
How you doing? Thanks for inviting me.
I thought you were on the Mike Mark Gym, and you were not. So Chris is here as well. What do you do in the sports department there? Are you just board hopping? Are you doing shows
play-by-play.
or what?
I just make sure the games go over the feed just fine.
You're one of those poor guys that are here on the weekends and overnights when college football from the West Coast is still going on and it's 3 a.m.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's horrible. But it's a job, and you're in radio, so I guess you got that going for you. Well, welcome to the show, man.
Thank
Today
you.
on the show, Simon Helberg you know him from Big Bang Theory, but he has a new movie out called We'll Never Have Paris. I'm going to talk to him in a little bit.
I know him as Moist from Dr. Horrible Sing-Along blog, so I'm just saying.
We also know him as one of the pledges from Old School.
There you go.
And I think was he the sick guy in Van Wilder? He was sick guy, right?
Was he?
No,
Van
he was.
Wilder?
He was one of the nerds in the fraternity that hired Van Wilder to
throw
do
the
a
party.
throw.
Yeah,
that's right.
So he was in that as well. We'll talk to him. And in a couple minutes, we're going to talk to Lily from the show King of the Nerds on TBS.
Right.
Little backstory on this show here.
Eric.
I've watched it, and I haven't been a fan of the show. And I did give it a chance. And recently I saw this huge, enormous billboard in Times Square that's kind of trippy looking. So I took a photo of it and put it on my Instagram and said, this is truly an awful show. And somebody replied to the photo, and it happens to be Lily, who's on season 3. And she said, well, you need to give this season a try.
Okay.
So I reached out to her and I said, well, why don't you call in and talk to us about the show and see if you can change our minds that the show is not just ridiculous. So she agreed, and we'll talk to her probably in
a couple of minutes, right?
5 minutes or so. She'll be calling in to talk about the show.
Hope she has a very persuasive case.
Right. Have you seen the show at all?
No, I've seen the poster that you took the picture of, and it was horrible, too.
I'm going to preface all this by saying that I kind of sort of liked it. In a weird way.
All right, well,
In like a hate yourself kind of way?
Let me change your mind for just a second.
All
If
right.
you could go on YouTube and pull up the promo for King of the Nerds.
Oh, we did this.
I know, but Matt
It's
wasn't
so
here.
bad.
If you can pull up the promo for King of the Nerds where it's the two guys from Revenge of the Nerds and they're rapping.
Oh, God.
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
I think
It's horrendous.
I think that I have seen it, but
Type in
should've
King of the Nerds promo.
They
See
should
if
have
that
just
comes
played
up
the
there.
old like Zelda rap. Like that would have been so much better.
Oh,
From the old like NES.
is that the
commercials
guy
from, like,
where
the
he was in the
80s?
prison and tap dancing?
No.
Oh, not that one?
No.
All right. Are we finding this at all?
No.
Oh, there it is right there.
Yeah,
Season
that's
3
it,
rap.
That's it. Ugh.
Let's turn the PC on here.
King of the Nerds. It's the return of the King of the Nerds.
You already lost me.
Fridays. TBS on Fridays. 9 p.m. The King of the Nerds. The King of the Nerds on Fridays. TBS. The Nerds is back. Friday, new night, new nerds intact.
So-
the ultimate nerds in the ultimate show.
It's the equivalent of the old lady rapping.
all right. I will agree with
From
you on that,
Wedding
but
Singer, you know?
I am going to say that perhaps the promo is doing a disservice
Right.
to the show itself.
Right.
That could very well be true.
It's still
I'm not
going on,
saying
by
I
the way.
love
We're
the
40
show.
seconds in, and there's still another minute to it.
It's still creeping me out in every capacity. But I'm not saying I love the show. I'm just saying that I thought it was okay. I'll probably watch the second episode tonight. I think it airs actually. So
Yeah, right after this show here on TBS. My problem with the show.
I'm stopping this now.
Yeah, you can.
Please.
My problem with the show is one, that's a fake wrestling belt, and I want authenticity. Get a spinning belt, or maybe the $1 million belt if you could. The problem I have with the show is that for so many years it's been the big easy goof for anybody who likes any kind of art or comic books or action figures, those kind of things, that it's so nerdy, geeky, loser shit. All right, fine, to each their own. But it finally got in the last 10 years, and to even more in the last 5 years, that it's become mainstream. It's not even niche. Yeah, it's not even. That's horrible. Don't even say that either. But it's more mainstream now because, I mean, every comic book that was ever out is getting a movie made. Any figure through history that you ever wanted to, any character in history that you ever wanted to get an action figure for, now you can. It was never available before. So it's gotten kind of cool. People are liking it. It's all over TV, movies, etc.
Sure.
This throws it back to that whole 80s mindset of, thick glasses and uncoordinated and non-athletic and all that bullshit. It's just like,
yes, there is
stop
definitely
going
that
back
element
to
to it.
You're not even digging the well. It's like you're filling it in. It's just horrible.
Yeah.
I feel like this just hits a little too close to home for Eric. I think that's what it is.
Well, I was never that way growing
know.
up, but I mean, I liked some of this stuff, but I would never how they portray the nerdy stuff in movies and television.
I think when we're not here, Eric dresses up as a kaiju monster and just trashes Lego buildings in his basement.
That's the Godzilla stuff, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Just making sure.
Okay, well, you just proved your non-nerdiness right there.
So there you go.
But I am wearing a Star Wars Simpsons
And
shirt,
that is
so
a really
that brings
awesome
me right back up.
Star Wars
There you
Simpsons
go.
shirt.
Isn't it?
That's pretty badass.
So that's been my biggest problem with this show, is that it does fall upon a stereotype, I guess. I can't really make the comparison, even though I want to saying like a racial stereotype or a sexist stereotype, but it is a stereotype
Sure.
for
Stereotypes are
people.
stereotypes.
It's a negative. It's a negative portrayal of a group of people who have, traditionally speaking, been beaten up in the lunchroom.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that a fair way to put it?
I think so. All
right.
But she should be calling any minute here. But I've tried. I tried when that show first came out. I was like, all right, let's see what it does. And then it went too over the top. And mixing in crunk, there's a fucking goblet with, that's all blinged out that says nerds.
Yeah,
and
okay, so I
you're
didn't
wielding
see
a
that in
Zelda sword. And it's just like, I can't do this.
I didn't see any of the first two seasons. I literally watched an episode for the first time today because I knew that this was happening tonight, right? We were going to talk about it. I was like, well, I have to at least watch an episode. I want to, I don't want to just pretend like I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And the first half of the episode where they had to build like this, was it a Rube Goldberg machine? It's like the mousetrap kind of.
Yeah, where it just keeps going for nothing, basically.
Right, for nothing, yeah. That was like the first challenge on the show. That was actually really interesting.
That's
like
cool.
they built some really cool contraptions. But then like the second half of the show, there are two guys dressed as monsters destroying cardboard cities to not get voted off the island, essentially. So it was like I was split down the middle. Like the first 25 minutes, I was like, all right, this is cool. I can appreciate this. And the second 25 minutes, I was like, ooh, this is uncomfortable and I don't know that I can actually watch. I'm going to mute and pretend like I'm watching.
Yeah, that just seems a little awkward. I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm like torn. I'm literally right down the middle. I'll give it another episode, though.
Well, it's like we were saying before. It's just, it's okay to be a nerd and like do nerdy things. You don't want to watch people doing nerdy things because I'm sure they're having a great time knocking over those buildings.
Really weird.
It looks just really awkward.
And I'm not
there's
even
something with it.
given the opportunity to do it myself, I might do it.
I would totally do it. I would dress up in a monster suit and knock over buildings.
I'm pretty positive at least once in my life I put on one of those big dumb sumo suits and did that goofy sumo boardwalk thing, where you win like a stuffed animal or some shit at the end. So why wouldn't I dress as Godzilla and knock over some cardboard buildings?
Yeah, you just
I
wanna
just don't want to watch other people do it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's a good way to put it. I like that.
It seems like an over descriptive thing of what happens at Comic-Con.
Yeah, it's weird. It kind of really plays up some of those stereotypes, and it makes them so campy that I think maybe the idea is to diffuse them. Like if they go so far over the top, it'll diffuse them. I don't know that that's the actual message that comes across though to a casual viewer. I think a casual viewer would be by like fucking nerds.
Yeah.
So,
most likely. I feel like really nerdy people might watch it and be like, oh, this is pretty cool. I like this. But I think other people who are watching it from the outside would be like, fucking nerds.
Well, hopefully, if she does call in, maybe she can change her minds. Because I'm open-minded to it. I want to like the thing. I just think it's being marketed horribly. And it's
that
really
promo, I think, definitely does a disservice.
Yeah, it's really coming off not good. So while we wait for that, if she calls, a couple of things I want to talk to you about before we get into some of the bigger topics. I want to tell you, and Matt is aware of this. On Fridays, I leave the Opie and Jimmy show or Bennington or whatever is airing on that Friday morning. I leave kind of early, and then I go home, do stuff, and then I come back into the city to do the show here at night.
Right.
So I stopped at one of my favorite places, surprise, surprise, the supermarket. And so I pull into the parking lot, and I turn off the car and everything, and I'm getting my phone. And I look out of my peripheral vision, and there's a car that's facing me diagonal, though. And something weird appears to be going on, and upon closer inspection, the guy is getting a hand job.
What?
Right? But it's not like he's sitting back in the chair and the girl's leaning over and doing something. He's leaning towards her. Like, she's in the driver's seat, and he's leaning over the little hump there, and I just see his eyes are closed, and he's breathing heavy, and then his head's going like this once in a while, like a bobblehead, and she's just looking at him. I'm getting the side view of her, and I'm thinking that's what's going on, but I'm not 100% sure. As soon as I walk out of the car, all of a sudden I just see the shoulder moving up and down like that, and I went, oh my God, they're jerking off in the middle of the parking lot at a supermarket. Actually, it was closer towards the entrance.
It's a classy ShopRite you
now
went
that I'm
to.
thinking about it, it was.
Yeah, like, where do you go food shopping at?
I thought a nice upscale place, or maybe a world-class ShopRite, but apparently not.
I can guess the one that you went to, because I'm kind of familiar with your area.
I don't want to give the location out.
No, I know you don't.
But I'm going to show Giddles the picture here.
I'm just saying, don't go to that one again.
First of all, this guy kind of looks like a homeless Santa Claus, and he might be furiously husking corn. I don't really know. I don't know if he was masturbating, but look at this guy. We'll pass this around.
Take a look at it, Chris. I was thinking about tweeting it out, but I wasn't 100% sure if I should.
No.
Especially considering you see their inspection sticker and all their information for the car.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't share that.
You can crop that out.
And not only that, there's just so much awful like salt stuck on the window that it looks really disgusting.
Are
when
you
you're
sure
talking
it's
about
salt?
Yeah, exactly.
So that happens, right? And here, let me have that back. So that happens, and I go into the store, I get a couple of things, and I come out. It's maybe 10, 15 minutes. I walk back to my car. Their car is still there, but they're not. So I'm now like, ew, they're in there shopping. So they're touching things.
That's right.
Just imagine they're buying produce, just touching everything to make sure it's all nice.
They're making sure the melons are ripe and eating grapes along the way.
I think this might be. I think this might be her on the line here. Lily? Hello? Are the phones not working?
Fail.
No, they're on. Hold on.
It doesn't say Lily.
Put on hold there.
How do phones work, Eric?
I'm doing it now. Hello?
Well,
great. The phones don't want to work. Put it back on hold for a second.
Lazy phones.
That worked, but line 10 did not seem to be working. Hopefully she calls back.
Oops.
It's not. I don't know what to tell you here.
Watch King of Nerds on TBS.
There you go.
So tonight, right after this show, I'm saying give it a shot. That's what I'm saying.
I'll say give it a shot too, even though I have really strong feelings leaning away from that show.
Even though leading into this, you said it was awful.
And if she calls in, then I'll plug her stuff. But if not, then we gave TBS a fair share on that. So anyway, yeah, the guy was jerking off in the parking lot, and we'll move on from there.
To the jerk off story.
Back to the guy cranking it.
Ghostbusters 3 announced this week that the new cast. Now we don't. I got to take that back. We don't know if it's 3 or we don't know if it's a reboot, because depending which news source that you read, I read on Hollywood Reporter who was saying that it was a reboot. Other places were saying they're not sure exactly what it is. Is it part 3? Years down the line, they're the new staff in charge of the place, and I don't know what's going on here.
Everything that I've read is calling it a reboot.
Okay,
so it's not a continuation. It is not Ghostbusters 3. It is an all new story. I've also heard that they're trying to take a scarier tone to the original. So not maintain continuity, scarier tone. If it's a scarier tone, then it's not Ghostbusters. Call it something else.
Yeah.
Right? Call it
Paranormal Investigators.
Yeah, call
something.
Exactly. But
Taps the movie.
It is not, oh God, but it's not Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is meant to be a comedy. It's not a scary movie. It's not a horror movie.
Oh, it's just going to be so many Slimer jokes.
Is it? I don't know. We don't know.
Hopefully.
So me and Giddles were talking about this before the show. We're saying who's going to play this character and who's going to be that. Is there going to be Ghost? We don't know any of that because if it's a true reboot, there might not be any of that element.
They might redo the whole canon story. Like, you never know. Well, I mean, what are they gonna do? Like Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, just like a whole bunch of Ghostbusters covered in white goo?
I was gonna say, how do you update Stay Puft? What would he be now?
CGI.
He would just be the Michelin Man.
No, that's what I mean. Like, would he? What would be an equivalent icon now? Is what I'm saying.
Mr. Peanut.
There you go.
And then everyone dies of peanut allergies.
Oh, it's terrible.
We're going to try to go back and see if Lily's on the line here. But before we do that, the cast of Ghostbusters, Ernie Hudson is still available. I don't know why they needed to cast for him, but he's there. He's not doing anything. Give Ernie a call, please. Let's try this again. Lily, are you there?
Yeah.
There we go. How are you?
Hi, I'm great.
Welcome to the show. Lily is on King of the Nerds Season 3, which is on TBS 9 p.m. You can follow her at Lilatron, Lilatron 22 on the Twitter there. Lily, thank you for calling in. Lily responded to a photo that I posted. There's a big billboard in Times Square promoting King of the Nerds, and I really did not have the best impression of this show. And I said, to quote, this show is truly awful. And Lily was nice enough. She responded to it, and she goes, you should give this season a try, because especially since she's on it. So I reached out to her, and now here she is on the show. Lily, what can you tell me about this show that maybe myself and maybe people out there listening who've seen the promos and stuff for the show, maybe getting the wrong idea of what this show is?
Sure, yeah. Well, I think that... I've seen so many criticisms of like, well, these people aren't real nerds, or I don't like the marketing ploy that they're doing with like the rap theme and all of that, when really I think that's all tongue-in-cheek, like laughing with ourselves. Like it tell you what, filming that music video was not very comfortable for most of us nerds, but it's funny to look at because it gets to kind of make us feel better about ourselves. And I think that the whole process was about a lot of people gaining confidence in themselves, and that's what the show does. Is it celebrates those things really important to us, and we feel like they're special and thought about, and just it's a huge confidence boost for nerds everywhere. I think that was being kind of put on the soul of like what these people do. Look at intelligent people. If you give them 24 hours, look at what they can create. And
right.
It's honestly, it's one of the best experiences of my life.
One thing you said that I didn't really think of is that it can be also interpreted that these people really aren't into the culture that they're portraying for this show here. But my concern with the program was more that it seems an over-exaggeration, a step backwards, if you will, in the progress of nerd culture and geek culture, where it's now become pretty mainstream, pretty acceptable. People have action figures and wearing cool T-shirts, and artwork everywhere is easily available. To get to this point where everyone's cool with it and everybody's on board with it, and then do a show like this that sometimes could appear pretty over-exaggerated, if you will. The people that are on the show this season, are they really like that, or are they playing it up for the show, or is the show making you guys do these things?
Sorry, I didn't hear that last part. Could you repeat that?
The people on the show, are they really, as they're being portrayed on the TV show, are they over-exaggerating for the TV show, or is this something that the TV show is asking you to do? Let's go in this direction and pump it through full steroids, if to use that term, that you go overexcited and then overzealous with the whole nerd culture stuff?
Phones just do not like us at all tonight.
Oh, no.
Are you there?
Nope.
Is it her phone?
I bet you TBS did not like that question.
TBS was like...
They're like, holy shit, he's on to us.
look,
Independent thought alarm.
In defense of the show, I don't get the impression that they're not nerds. They're clearly nerds. I could spot my own, and I'm comfortable in saying that.
You don't think some of them are faking it?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, and some of them are, like I think one of the girls on the show like works for NASA. Like, so not only are they like pop culture nerds, comics, anime, video games, stuff like that, but some of them are like legit like science nerds, and that's great. But with the over the top stuff, I can see that as potentially being misconstrued and negative to people who already see it as negative. It's not convincing anybody that already doesn't have that opinion of anything, but I don't know. Give the show a shot. I didn't think the first episode was bad. I'll watch tonight's episode probably this weekend, but that's all.
Well, I wasn't trying to like attack her or the show, other than, look, I have the wrong opinion. Maybe I have the wrong opinion about it, but the view I have for it is not really positive for that particular kind of programming. I think it portrays a lot of things in a bad light, but maybe I need to be a bit open-minded to it and give it another shot. I don't know, but wait, here she is. Let's see if she can. If this doesn't work the last time, then
we're gonna try this.
Yeah, one more time. There we go, Lily.
Hi, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. Yes.
Gosh, I'm so sorry. I ran all around the house trying to find better signal.
Did you hear the last thing that I said too?
It was relayed to me by someone else very quickly.
Okay. So,
on the subject of us and our nerd cred, I would say that everyone on the show is 100% genuine. I think it's so incredible. We talk all the time about how a whole team of people was set out to find, the nerdiest, most interesting, passionate people in America, and then we all get to be best friends with them. So hopefully it'll come across to you when you watch the show, but at no point are we asked to be something that we're not, because I think that would be...
I know it's reality TV, and they do, for the sake of entertainment, they put people in a lot of weird and unique situations to move a storyline along or create drama or what have you there. But if the people on the show really are who they are, it's not they got somebody who wanted to be this nerdy character just to be on television, then maybe I should give it another shot. I mean, I'll watch it tonight. I said it on the DVR. I'll take a look at it.
You should. I mean, did you see the first episode yet?
I did. I watched the first episode. I liked the first half of the episode with the Goldberg machines. I thought that was great. The kaiju monsters at the end with the cardboard with the cardboard city was a little over the top, but I understand it. It's fun. It's funny. I mean, I'm a big honking nerd. I'm not ashamed to say it. So, but I think it's just weird watching it. I kind of get like this. I think that non-nerds are just going to make fun of it, and I think that some nerds are going to just appreciate it, and other nerds are just going to feel uncomfortable. But I
Matt,
think everybody should watch it.
Are you saying haters are going to hate?
Haters are going to hate. Eric, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that was a fear that I really had when someone was encouraging me to try out for the show. I was like, well, don't they just make fun of nerds? Like, isn't that kind of what's going on there? But it's honestly not the case. And from the edits I've seen of all of us, I think that, they're really just showing us in what we do and who we are. And yeah, sometimes we say things that are kind of goofy, but I don't think that the joke is on us liking certain things, as the joke is more, look at these silly situations that these people get into, which we do. And those are our own choices. Nobody else's. So, being on the show completely squat I had about how genuine the show was and what message they were trying to portray. I personally think that this season does the best job so far of all of the seasons, in terms of representing us for who we really are and really making the comedy situational as opposed to making fun of anyone.
Okay, well then I guess I'll give it another shot and next week let people know what I think of the show.
I'd love to talk to you again.
No problem. I know you got to run. Lilitron22 on the Twitter there. By the way, your profile said you're a cosplayer and tabletop gamer. What's your favorite tabletop game?
I mean, it depends on the mood. I really love the Firefly game out right now, the Econ one. I know, and I want
won my heart.
The Blue Sun expansion.
There's an expansion coming?
No, okay, they have 2 expansions. They have the Bounty Hunters and Pirates expansion.
Damn it,
and
I
then
didn't
they
know
have
about that.
But hold on. So the Blue Sun expansion is another like third of the board, and you get Reaver Space and Miranda and Shadow, which is Malcolm Reynolds' home planet. So if you want to buy me something, you can buy me that expansion.
All right. Well, you just made a lover out of Matt here. You found your soulmate. Lily, thank you so much. The show is King of the Nerds. It's on TBS Friday nights, 9 p.m., and we will now watch it and check it out.
Yeah, let me know what you think. Hit me up on Instagram, man.
All right, will do. Take care, hon.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, you called her hun. That was cute there at the end.
That was all the time.
That was kind of douchey.
I want to see what this one is. Andy in Kentucky. Andy?
Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. What do you
All
want?
these years I've listened, I just want to yell, Slava!
Okay, I figured that's what it was.
Yeah.
It was either her shutting up or Slavo, so there you go. Nick in Jersey wants to ask about parody songs. Nick?
Hey, what's up?
What do you want to know about parody songs?
I was just on YouTube yesterday, and I looked up the Sean F. parodies of you.
Yeah.
And I don't know, because I feel like, I don't know if you were just acting pissed because of the show, because I mean, it was really funny when you were acting that way, but do you look back at them in retrospect and think they're funny or no?
No, I think the guy's a piece of shit. I don't like him. but you know what? Best of luck to him, and you know, if that's the highlight of his life, then so be it. All right?
Yeah, it wasn't 15 minutes the same, definitely, but they were well put together a lot of the time. Some of them weren't that great, but I mean...
No, he did a good job technically, but overall content, you know, I'm not a fan, so there you go. Okay? Thanks for calling, man. I appreciate it. Ghostbusters 3, I don't think we need anything more with that.
I don't think there's anything else to say
we
about
don't know
that.
if it's a reboot, and we don't know if it's a sequel.
It's
depending
a
what you
reboot.
read.
I'm pretty positive.
I'm thinking it's a
confident in
reboot
saying
too.
It's a reboot.
I'm hoping it's a sequel, but it's
I feel like
going to be a reboot.
I think it's gonna be like one of those things like the new Karate Kid type thing where they just brought in like the new one where it's like kind of the same, but it's not.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like they blacked it up.
Oh, that yeah.
Wow.
That's
Wow,
rough.
Eric. Oof.
Well, that's what they did.
That is yeah.
It's exactly what they did.
No, I was talking about the one where you had like the girl with Mr. Miyagi when like the girl came
Yeah,
in.
it
and he
was
tried. I wasn't talking
it
about
was
the new
Hilary
one.
Swank. It
I
was
was
the
talking about
new
Hilary
Karate Kid,
Swank, and that's why I was like, I
yeah.
don't know where Eric's going with that.
The new Karate Kid, the next Karate Kid, whatever that one was.
Right.
Yeah. Not the Kung Fu Kid.
the Kung Fu one.
Oh, well. Also, the Tomorrowland teaser was out, and it's a teaser. This is really ridiculous. It's a teaser to tease that the full trailer will be aired during the Super Bowl.
But it's a teaser for the trailer that's already been teased.
Right.
For the... it's just so... I
here
hate
it is.
teasers
It's like
for
the
teasers.
inception of trailers.
It is.
Dramatic music, graphic. Pull the graphic away, a guy standing somewhere. Another graphic, see it on Sunday.
Yeah.
That's about it.
It's stupid.
What is Tomorrowland about? I know it's supposed
Nobody
to be based on the
knows.
park, but yeah, exactly. Nobody
No,
knows
it's
what
not
this
even-
movie's about.
I don't think it's actually based on the park, other than it shares the name, and conceptually, it looks like what Tomorrowland was supposed to be.
Adrian, do you know? You're shaking your head?
Yeah, I'm almost positive it's not based on the park.
Yeah,
I think it's somehow Tomorrowland is tied into like a whole separate story. Like I know they took it as inspiration, but it's not based on the park itself.
Yeah, no. It looks like it's some sort of alternate dimension. Like she touches the pin and she goes to some sort of alternate dimension that is Tomorrowland. But how she gets there, why she goes there, we have no idea from what we've seen so far.
So teaser for the trailer that hasn't aired yet.
That's right.
This is a weird trend. It's all the Super Bowl ads that, you know, for Madison Avenue and all kinds of marketing, this is their, you know, big time of the year where they debut all their new stuff and their new campaigns. But now they're putting them out online to let you know they're online, so you can watch them during the Super Bowl. But why would you stick around then if you're seeing everything online before it airs?
Because the truth is that the people that are watching it online are not the majority of the people that are going to see those trailers. People watching it during the Super Bowl are not seeking this shit out online. We are, because we're looking at those sites every day or we're on Twitter every day. But a lot of those people are going to see that shit they have no idea that it's online already.
Right.
And most of them probably don't care, to be quite honest
Yeah, they
with
probably
you
don't
either.
care.
They use the time that I care about the Super Bowl to take a pee. So
well, there are people who are either fair weather football fans or not football fans that are at these parties that actually want to see the commercials rather than the game. So if you're putting them all online, you're kind of defeating the point of, unless, I guess Tomorrowland is a brilliant thing. It's a teaser to see the full trailer during the commercials.
And then now the new trend is you see a portion of the trailer during the Super Bowl, and then it says, go to our Facebook page to see the extended trailer. Like, I forget, Marvel did that last year with some big, it wasn't Avengers, it was Cap 3 maybe?
I think it might have been Cap 3.
Or Cap 2, or whatever.
2,
But, so that's, like, even now the Super Bowl ads are just teasing something else.
Snickers is doing that too. They put a teaser out with Danny Trejo. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name, but they put out a teaser to see the full commercial during the Super Bowl. Like, why?
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah, it's just.
We should start doing that for this show, Eric.
It's a teaser of a teaser for a teaser of a trailer.
Put out a teaser and say, see our commercial
during the Super Bowl, and then there's no commercial.
There's no commercial.
You saw what we paid to make. Other trailers, a Fantastic Four one just came about. Thoughts on this? Anybody give a shit about it?
It looks like it might be a really cool sci-fi movie. It's not the Fantastic Four. Call it something else. Call it,
because it's not an origin story, right?
It is an origin story, but it looks like somebody at Fox had an idea for a sci-fi movie,
right?
And Fox was like, "Oh shit, we got to make Fantastic Four. We're going to lose the rights. Let's mush this other topic we have into the Fantastic Four template that we know exists, and come up with some garbage on the other end." It just doesn't look like Fantastic Four to me.
Well, I felt like the trailer was just like they watched the Interstellar trailer and was like, let's just do that for this movie. It was like the same thing. It was like, oh, human race, and we got to do this, and we got to go to space. It was like the same heartfelt like Interstellar trailer, but it's not. It's Fantastic Four.
Here was the most interesting thing to me about the Fantastic Four trailer. It wasn't the trailer. It was the follow-up to the trailer, which was the director's commentary for the trailer. Did you see that? It was Josh Trank and the other guy, and they actually had to explain the minute and a half trailer to you and try to convince you why they made some of the decisions they made. And one of the things was like, well, we thought it was more realistic that it's interdimensional because, right now space travel isn't a thing, and so going up into space and getting hit by a cosmic ray, that's too crazy for a comic book movie. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Just put out the goddamn movie that people want to see. Why does it have to be this deep?
It's not as realistic. They have a talking raccoon in the other one.
It's I blame Fox. I don't blame Marvel. I blame Fox.
And that movie made a ton of money.
It did.
Yes, but that was Marvel and not Fox.
Right.
God bless Marvel.
Now with this Fantastic Four, you and I talked about a story a while ago where we heard that Disney and Marvel were purposely not going to put out a toy line and other products to support this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because they would rather tank millions in order to force Fox, it's Fox, right?
Yes.
That's what Fox, to have this thing fail, that they'll want to give up the rights to this thing.
They're not going to lose. Marvel proper is not going to lose any money. I'll tell you why. Because they're not losing any of the money from the films because they don't own the movie to the films. The only thing they're going to lose is potential comic book sales. There's no toys out right now, and they're not going to make money off of toys anyway. And with all the changes going on, I'm not going to go too deep, but with all the changes going on in the Marvel comic world right now, Fantastic Four can go away for a year and no one would care, and it can come back when the movie is done and flopped and forgotten about and reboot, and then Marvel can make money off of it again.
Well, isn't this like the third attempt at a Fantastic Four movie too? Because there was that horrible Roger Corman one in like the late 80s or 90s that was just horrible, and then there was the other one like that wasn't even that long ago, and that wasn't very good.
And
that
got two movies out of it.
There were two, right?
The Silver Surfer.
Oh yeah, the Rise of the Silver
Right.
Surfer.
All right, so is it unrealistic to think that within the next 5 years, the way this is going, that Sony and Fox are going to wind up giving these properties or selling these properties back?
Well, Fox will never let go of the X-Men franchise because it makes them far too much money.
Yeah,
and those movies are actually
X-Men does do really well,
and they're actually because
and
they're
good movies.
They're good movies. It's the Fantastic Four, and then Sony with Spider-Man. I think Sony's going to revert Spider-Man at some point because they just can't put out a movie that makes
so many times.
Marvel will not reboot that. If they get Spider-Man back, they're just going to bring him in swinging. I think. No pun intended.
I'm probably wrong on this, but didn't they announce that Sony and Marvel are actually working together to put Spider-Man in the
that came
Avengers?
out during that hack? That there were conversations, but Sony wanted to retain all the creative rights, and Marvel was like, no, why would we let you have creative rights? Give us the character back. That's the deal. And so there is no deal.
All right,
so that's dead.
Well, that movie's coming out. If you want to go see it, go ahead. I don't think I really have any interest in, and not because it's Marvel Disney didn't make it. I just never really cared about Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
sure.
It's just one of those properties.
I like Fantastic Four, but
I liked when they spoofed them on Venture Brothers. Like that was fantastic.
Yes, because he's back. Stephen Colbert. Played what do they call him in Venture Brothers?
I can't remember. Mr. Fantastic or something.
No,
like that?
they don't.
Fabulous or something.
Something along those lines.
I haven't seen.
They just did a Venture Brothers special about 2 weeks ago, and he's back in there, and now he's part of the. Whatever the evil group is now, because they keep losing the rights to their name, so they got to keep changing everything.
So far, the best Fantastic Four movie that's ever been made was The Incredibles by Disney.
Oh yeah,
Watch
that was great. That was basically it.
Where is my super suit, woman?
Exactly.
All right, we're going to have to take a break here. We have Simon Helberg coming up next. He has a movie called We'll Never Have Paris. Also, you may know him from The Big Bang Theory. Next week on the program, we have 2 shows next week, Friday and Saturday. Andrew Lincoln from Walking Dead will be here. Comedian Lisa Carrero will be here as well. And then the Saturday show is... this is a unique thing. There's a company now called Kinda Funny, not of. Kinda Funny. Kinda Funny. These 4 guys used to work at IGN. They were, pretty high up in the company. They did the official podcast for Sony PlayStation called Podcast Beyond, I think it was called. And they have another podcast called Game Over Greggy, which does really well. They left and started their own venture called kindafunny.com. And they're doing Twitch TV, they're doing YouTube, they're doing food reviews, they're doing movie stuff, they're working on TV pilots and developing movies. Like they've trying everything possible. And I didn't realize how big these guys were as far as being online famous until I heard them on Kevin Smith's Smodcast and reached out to them, and I saw they've got an amazing subscriber base, and all their videos are well into the millions. So. I did an interview with them. That'll air next week. It hasn't even aired yet, but one of the guys posted it on Twitter, and my Twitter blew up. All these people, where can I get it? I want to hear it. I want to download. So I'm excited to see how this does.
Nice.
So that'll be awesome. Next week as well. Matt, do you have anything to plug?
Yeah, if you want to hear more geeky shit, you can check out Geek Stuff Podcast, bkgeekstuff.com. It's me and a couple of other dudes talking about all this geeky shit in far more depth than I can go into here.
Thank God. Giddles, anything?
I have a soup takedown going up on Sunday. If you guys want to come and eat soup in Brooklyn, and come hang out.
You still do? You still all your episodes with Barmageddon air?
Yeah,
they're all done.
They've aired.
So you can True TV, right?
True TV.
You can find them on demand there. It's actually an interesting show.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. It's like wife swap with bars.
Chris, do you have anything?
Follow me on Twitter, BrainstewHammy. That's STU.
There you go. All right. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk to Simon Helberg. Simon, how are you?
Hello. Good. How are you guys?
It's so weird seeing you.
I get that all the time. It is weird. I'm weird. That's what it is.
Well, it's not that you look weird or anything
you
like
are
that.
So
and it is
weird.
kind of that, but just, you're a guy that I've seen in TV and movies for so long, to actually get to sit right in front of you and you get to talk to them like that. It's a little odd because you don't want to come off like the Uber fan that drives some of these talents crazy, and you don't want to come off like I don't give a shit that you're actually here. So there's a weird balance.
You better walk that line, friend. You better walk that line carefully.
You are a superstar here. Everybody does know you from The Big Bang Theory. I know you from Old School.
Okay.
And from Van Wilder.
Oh, my. So,
smaller roles, but important
smaller,
nonetheless.
Those were different times.
And you are here right now to promote your latest project, We'll Never Have Paris.
Yes.
This is now this has been done for about 2 years and sort of came out last year for festivals, right?
Oh, yeah, no, it's been done. We went to festivals last year,
right.
And we kind of finished it under the wire. Right before South by Southwest, and then we went to Edinburgh, and
that's a great place to show a film now, because up until maybe at least 10 years ago, maybe even less than that, was a music festival. Then it became art. Then it became video games and all this stuff. And now they're doing film.
Yeah, and they tend to embrace more. They've stayed pretty true to the indie film world, right. or sort of more offbeat films, and I mean, my movie's not incredibly offbeat or incredibly indie, except for the fact that it was made on a shoestring budget and all that. But it's a palatable romantic comedy, I guess, a bit of an anti-romantic comedy. All words which are weird to you. I'm a huge fan.
Well, we're not
of those
gonna use
words.
rom-com.
I won't say rom-com, but yeah. So we went to South by, and then. Out of that festival came this distribution deal, which is sort of the goal and the hope, and then here we are. It's incredible. It's been quite a journey.
Now, this is a passion project of yours that was, you did pretty much everything besides starring in it. You wrote and directed and produced and everything.
Yeah.
But you also did it with your wife.
Yeah. It was an odd undertaking. My wife and I, happily married, weren't always so happy, and we decided to go and tell the story of our demise, basically. We had this intercontinental catastrophic breakup right before a horribly disastrous, clumsy proposal. And that was about 10 years ago. And I think a lot of people tend to relate to that story. But, of course, ours spanned continents. I followed her to Paris, and I was just a total buffoon. I made a series of terrible decisions, tried to sow my oats while, I had this perfect girlfriend. And I thought, well, I'm going to go explore, be a man, sow some oats. Couldn't find any oats. I ran right back to her. She had gone to Paris. I followed her. She met a Frenchman. So it was like a series of just fumbles, one after the next. And I was a bit of a train wreck. And it was this this vortex for a few months that I went into, and then came out the other side. But my gosh,
this was before you got Big Bang, and you were just doing smaller roles in a lot of things.
Yeah.
So this wasn't like work got in the way and caused a bunch of problems. Because now you're a world famous superstar. From
but
a TV show.
I think there was actually in that. And the movie ultimately at the end of the day is sort of 50% based on our story. I mean, those major the kind of skeleton of that story is there in terms of I followed her here and there, but there's a lot of liberties taken. But I think in real life, actually, it was that moment. I was in my mid-20s, and it was I guess like a quarter life crisis. I had a great girlfriend. I started to work a bit more. I think I did have a moment of thinking, I had gotten a job doing something, and I just think I had this moment of maybe I need to just be free, and I'll just meet people. And I haven't been with many people in my life, and I got to be a man. I got to play the field. I don't know how to be a man, but maybe I need to learn how to be a man. And so I just kind of pressed the eject button and shot out into space and plummeted back to Earth. That was basically what happened. And it kind of was it almost was like there was a taste of success or something. But yeah, it was before all that. I think it was really just being that age, being sort of self-absorbed and
that's interesting and a little unusual to hear, because usually that kind of scenario plays out after you've gotten a big movie or a TV show that's just blown up.
I was ahead of my time.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm going to be famous, so I'm going to fuck it up all right now.
Right. I think that is I was planning ahead. I was just trying to be considerate to her, and I'm saying, look, I'm going to be famous someday, so I might as well be an asshole right now. Yeah.
And then I'll come back to you.
Which is probably stupid, because the whole perk of being famous, I think, is that then there probably are oats that you can sow. But I just ran out and was.
You went looking for oats.
I did. It was the big oat famine of 2004. So yeah, it was tough. But I'm a fan of, I guess, humiliating myself for to try to find the comedy or the truth or both. And this movie is somewhat of a humiliation. But I think it's kind of it's something universal that I've talked to people, and everybody seems to have this less than perfect proposal story, or the breakup that preceded the proposal, or that moment where there was temptation and they threw it all away and then came running back. So I wanted to tell a different side of, back to that whole rom-com thing. I wanted to tell sort of the different side of that story. You usually kind of follow the jilted person, I think, in a romantic comedy, and this is kind of following the jilter. I was the one that did said jilting, and then you follow me and you see what's wrong with this guy. So it's not always the most favorable light that my character is shown in, but it's There's a lot of forehead slapping in the theater when I've sat there. It's a lot of people going, no, oh, why did you? Oh, no, don't say that. Oh man, you don't need to tell her that you wanted to kiss someone. That doesn't, So
everyone walks out of the movie just wanting to punch you for being so dumb.
I think so. That's the hope. I think, is that wrong? Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe that's not what you're supposed to do.
The hope is that the film does very well, not that people are going to get mad at you and turn on.
Okay, good. I will keep that in mind.
You got married, you said 10 years ago?
No, let's see. I got married, it'll be 8 years in July.
8 years ago. So the actual incident took place 10 years ago?
Yeah, a couple years before we got married, because when I did eventually propose, which I like bulldozed her into it, which wasn't a good move either.
Was it exactly like it was in the film?
It's similar,
kind of stumbling around and just kind of.
Yeah, it was sort of like once she sent me home from Paris. Not to give away too much, but I think there's my move was like if I corner her and propose to her, then and she'll have to say yes, and then I'll have won her back. I didn't really respect her process that much, so I kind of bullied her into it. But yeah, so we were engaged for a while. It took a little while to actually get married because I think we had to recover from all the collateral damage of that process leading up to it. But so here we are now. We have 2 kids, and we're in quite a different place than we were.
Now, 10 years ago, you were about how old?
I would have been exactly 24.
24. 2 more years later, you get married. And that seems to be roughly where a lot of people are getting married later in their 20s, even into their 30s now. Back to current time here, you're in your mid-30s, you're doing well with movies and with TV and what have you, but you don't look like all this has happened. Like you look very young for all this to happen to somebody. Because if you're in your mid-20s when the actual incident happened, to where you are now making the film, and you play late 20s for Big Bang, right?
Okay,
or are they in their 30s?
I'm 22. I didn't want to...
You're all over the place, but you fit every age.
Yeah.
That's a great talent to have. You don't even need to speak, just show up and you're like, that's a guy in his 20s.
There's a chamber that I sleep in that I would like to recommend to people.
Even when you were in old school, you were one of the pledges.
I know. You
looked like you were in college.
I should have been.
Yeah.
That's the secret. Drop out of college, and then you can go make a movie where you go to college
and do all the fun stuff.
And not only that, you get paid, and it's to hang out with Will Ferrell and Vince Vaughn.
Right.
That was a good college experience. I was like, there was a night where I was standing on this rooftop. It was Valentine's Day. This is actually kind of sums everything up perfect. It was the first Valentine's Day that I was with my wife now.
Right.
And we'd only been together for like a month, and I said, "Hey, do you wanna? Would you be my Valentine this year?" I didn't know, like, are we in a relationship? And she said, yes, I would love to. And I said, okay, great. So now I have to tell you that I'm busy on Valentine's Day. I'm not going to be able to be with you, but maybe we could. So I like cornered her. I had this like habit of just kind of, and I said, because I'm shooting old school. We were shooting on Valentine's Day, and what we were shooting that night, which was the night we would have had maybe a romantic dinner, I was shooting the scene where we're all, our pants are around our ankles on the rooftop, and we have cinder blocks tied to our business. So, that was my and not only was that the Valentine's Day I should have been with my now wife, but I had this moment of thinking like, wow, right now I should be in college, probably doing this, but or probably I would have been studying theater and rolling around on the ground, grunting like an ape. But I was standing on this rooftop, and I had a cinder block in my hand, and so it was a surreal moment. I guess that was the end of my college education.
But it counts.
I think it counts, because I would have never been in a fraternity anyway, so I might as well, at least it was a fake cinder block.
All you have to do is see if you can find whoever was taking the consistency photos.
Yes.
Get the black and white prints of those, put them in a scrapbook, show your kids later on.
Exactly.
Say, look, here's where.
Yes.
College was great for me, and it will be for you too.
It's true. Yeah, maybe we can make old school and looking like a documentary or something, and they'll believe. But yeah, I did 2 years at NYU, and it was it was wonderful, and then. Then I started, old school was kind of my first, like, steady, I was not in it much, but I was there. I worked for like 6 weeks, so I was in heaven. I got to go to work with those guys and laugh and hang out and talk and get paid and have an apartment, and I had a girlfriend, and I was like, I'm barely in the movie, but I kind of was. It was sort of perfect.
It all counts.
No, I mean it was wonderful. I had such a. It's strange, and who would have. I mean, I knew that movie was going to be hilarious when we were making it, but I guess it's become kind of iconic for college people.
I don't know anybody who are around our age group here. Whenever it comes on, whether you throw the DVD on or if it's on one of the cable channels, that doesn't say, "Oh, I'm going to sit here and watch this for a while."
There are some.
And then everyone's yelling, "Blue, you're my boy, Blue."
I know, and that was that night. That was the on the rooftop, and I mean, my God, Will Ferrell is. The stuff that comes out of his mouth, it's unbelievable.
He'd be great to work with again, I would imagine.
Yeah, I actually ran into him. I hadn't really seen him since then. It was weird because we really did spend every day together. I mean, not alone, but all of us, and hung out, and I didn't see him till like probably 6 months ago, and it was crazy. He was like, "Wait a minute!" And he came up and he was like, "You have been." Like, look what happened, because it was like, here we are, and now I'm on this show, and he's,
Did he do the whole thing where he comes up to you, he knows you, but doesn't mention your name because he doesn't remember your name?
I think he may have avoided my name.
How's things going? Yeah, pal, that's great.
Yeah, but he did approach me, so he may have avoided saying my name, but so that was what a cool experience.
What a cool time.
Yeah.
Simon's here promoting his movie that he's got a lot vested in, We'll Never Have Paris. You said it was a shoestring budget, yet you filmed in New York and Paris.
Yes, I know. It's weird.
How difficult was it getting Paris on board as far as permissions to shoot as opposed to New York? Like, New York's expensive, but it's easy to get done because they're in the business of everybody wants to make a movie in New York.
Right. And there were like certain times I definitely didn't ask questions when we were in Paris. I was like, I don't know how we're here, but we're here, and we might get arrested, but I don't know what's
Just the lighting, turn it on, let's go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, but I will say we had amazing producers and people working that angle. So we actually shot all of the interiors for Paris, and like a third of the movie takes place in Paris, but all the interiors were shot in Brooklyn, and doubled for Paris, and we had an amazing art director, and it looked incredible. And then in Paris, it was like, we had 3 days essentially to shoot. I mean, Père Lachaise, Sacré-Cœur, all these huge, on the streets in Montmartre, and all these amazing locations. And it was we shot at the Naval Museum, which was like, we had to get permission from.
Right, because it's not open to the public.
Yeah, we had to get permission from the government. And I just remember they said, look, eventually they're like, okay, you can shoot here, but if someone really high up in the French military is killed or a government official is assassinated, we're gonna have, and I was like, oh, come on, suck it up. What? I mean, that's ridiculous. They're already dead. No, but they were like, then we have to drape a flag over.
And the admiral wants a walk-on role.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm walking around like reading like all about politics. I'm like talking to like our military. I'm like, you guys, you need to look after the French for the next week because I have this big scene. Get the Pentagon on the phone.
Right.
Yeah. So I definitely was like, please, I hope everything is okay. And we shot in these amazing places, and it was smooth and insane and fast. We shot in these churches, and then we had this French crew that didn't speak English and demanded their cappuccino and wine at lunch, and that is real, and you don't mess with them, and they take an hour, and they work 12. What did they work? No, not 12-hour days. I think they work like. Maybe it's like 9 hours, including a lunch break. It's very short, and here you see people, they shoot 14 hours sometimes. So, but they get it done, and they're great, and their attitudes, they can be.
Were there people crowding around watching the filming, or were people just not caring?
That was awkward sometimes, like, because mostly we were kind of permitted or isolated, or but there were a couple shots where we were in the street. And we can't close down like a thoroughfare, so it's like me and Melanie Linsky, and I'm yelling something because we're fighting throughout Paris, and I'm yelling something, and there were people like I'd be waiting to enter and down the street, and people would be like, oh my God, can I get a picture? And it's self-conscious to like be acting in front of just people on the street who don't even see the camera. It felt strange. I'm not like It was like I felt like Sacha Baron Cohen, or like I was trying to pull like some prank on all these people because I'm screaming in the street and they're looking and they recognize me. I think I confused many people, including myself. It was
Were there a lot of Big Bang fans over in Paris?
There are an insane amount. Yeah, it's yeah. In some ways, when I've traveled, it is more overwhelming than it is when I've traveled to other countries. It's very intense. Paris, Mexico City, Brazil. Right. I haven't been to China yet or Australia, but I've heard that. I mean, it's like Canada. These places also, I guess, because they don't expect to see an actor. You know, even New York, people don't expect. LA, right. Everyone's like, you're the least famous person in the coffee shop. Right. It's like, wow, no one's looking at me. I'm like, oh, Leonardo DiCaprio sitting over there. Okay. So here it's
I'm
like
paying for this coffee.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the only police officers and Leonardo DiCaprio don't have to pay for their coffee.
The whole geek culture and nerd culture that surrounds Big Bang Theory really doesn't have any kind of barrier, like color, religion, race, sex, all that stuff. Do you still find it amazing when and the reason why I bring this up is this is Lewis, who works with me here.
Hello, Lewis.
And Lewis is a black gentleman.
Oh,
and
we're on radio, so I couldn't tell.
Does it ever surprise you when you see black guys come up and say how much they love the show? Like when I see them at Comic-Con and they're not there for the things that I think that they would be there for. Well, like, there's a black guy dressed as Doctor Who, and you're like, really? Wow. You didn't expect it, but it's great to see.
I mean, I don't know if, how much the color or ethnicity of people blows me away at this point. It is not as, I'd say not as much as the like vibe of a person. I mean, right. Whether they're black or white or whatever is like, I mean, yeah, our show doesn't have black people on it really. So I guess I could say, wow, well, I guess it's cool that it appeals to black people, but at the same time, it doesn't have any Hell's Angels on it either. And I swear I've been appred by a Hell's Angel.
Well, I was just going to ask you that. Who's some of the strangest people that you found out that are actually fans of what you guys did?
I mean, well, half the time I think I'm going to get carjacked by the people that knock on my window or honk or whatever, and I'm like, oh no, they're just a fan. I had a homeless girl on the freeway off ramp ask me to sign her piece of cardboard, her homeless sign. She wanted me to autograph it. And I was like, well, a few things here that are bothering me about and confusing me. I mean, I'm happy to do it. First of all, I'm sorry that my signature is probably only worth $3. But maybe you should sell your flat screen TV that you watch my show.
Right.
It was bizarre. And, there's definitely been an age is, I'll have like a 65-year-old woman will come up and say, like my father is, I'm like, your father is dead, probably. But okay, but no, he's 95 and he watches your show, or
well, that's not unusual because the show, besides the current airings, which are on CBS, is on syndication because you passed that mark, but it's on all over the place.
You can't avoid it, and I think
they're hitting almost like Simpsons and Seinfeld status.
Oh my god! I mean, it's unavoidable, and so So everyone from a kid a 7-year-old to a 95-year-old, a Hell's Angel, black, white, it doesn't matter. I've just never. It never ceases to amaze me. I couldn't, there are certain people you're like, I know they watch our show. The guy wearing the Flash t-shirt or whatever probably watches our show, but it's, and then there are people you meet who are like, what is it? I've never, especially like, out in LA, there's like pockets of very jaded people who are like.
Are you surprised when celebrities tell you that they're fans of your show?
Yeah, but see, a lot of them, sometimes they. And then
that goes around in LA where everyone says whether they are or not, they're a fan of your project or movie or whatever.
I'm always, and then sometimes it is shocking, but a lot of people like there's in Hollywood our show. I mean, I think a lot of people know our show and it is popular, but I think there's also I don't know there's an element, I think, a pocket of Hollywood that doesn't watch the show or mainstream TV or that kind of television, right. Or, people that just watch HBO and Netflix and so sometimes you'll meet people that don't have any idea, and you can walk past someone will start crying when they see you because they can't believe it, and then you watch.
That's weird.
And then there's another person.
I've seen it here at SiriusXM, depending on who the talent is, celebrity that's in here or artist. When they're downstairs, you usually see all the paparazzi.
I know.
But when you see girls just going nuts, or guys even going nuts and crying for some of these people, you're like, I could never imagine being in that spot.
I can't either. I don't feel like I am. Like even when they're, I always feel like I don't know. It feels like it's this one isolated moment that I'm like, oh, it's a strange experience. I'm meeting someone, they're shaking, and then it's hard for me to imagine because I'm not that impressed when I look in the mirror, but they are, I guess.
Do you ever mess around and like maybe go to like a Best Buy or something and pick up a Big Bang series and somebody's walking by and go, oh, this show sucks, and you just throw it down?
No, I get too uncomfortable. I feel like I've had those opportunities. I feel like I've been near people who are like talking about the show or something, and I'm tempted to be like, hey, but yeah, no, I try to just.
The movies will never have Paris. I have one or two more questions about that, but something else I saw on your Twitter recently, and Jason Ritter was on Conan.
Yeah.
And talking about how you guys do stupid dares to each other, and you made him run across the Pacific Coast Highway naked.
Yes.
Which is not unusual. I think that's kind of funny. And he said he really enjoyed it. But and then I looked further down your Twitter, and you have the cast and crew of Big Bang Theory wearing the shirts for the John Ritter Foundation.
Yeah.
Now, your involvement with all that, how, did it come about being friends with Jason? Did it have to do with Kaylee working on John's show? Like,
no, that was through me having been, obviously, I mean, close to John through Jason, obviously. Right. And Amy, John's ex-wife, had contacted me about the foundation, which I had known about, and I had tried to support in other ways, but I guess now we were in a position where we could actually maybe do something, more substantial and get the word out. And so Billy Bob Thornton happened to be on the show, who was one of John's best friends that week. And then Jason came by because I said, come on by, and we got these T-shirts, and so we all, and of course Kaylee's connection too. But yeah, no, I was I sort of led that spearheaded that kind of that photo and got that together. But yeah, everybody was incredibly supportive, and John was, one of the greatest people and talents. So I'm happy to get the word out.
Speed round here is because you do have to go.
Okay.
You have a lot more to do. We'll Never Have Paris is the movie. It's out on demand.
Yeah.
And some theaters are carrying it.
15 cities across the country. I guess you can check your local listings on demand, iTunes, Vudu, Hulu, all those things, cable providers.
You should check it out. The movie is very good. The cast is really good. You got Zachary Quinto on there, which was awesome. Maggie Grace and Melanie, is it Linsky?
Melanie Linsky, okay. Alfred Molina, Jason Ritter. Yeah, it's a pretty wonderful. Judith Light, just an awesome group of actors.
Talked with Melanie not too long ago. Have you seen her new show on HBO? Togetherness?
I've seen a bunch actually. I had gone to some screenings of that. I love it. I think those guys are the Duplass brothers and that cast, and I'm a huge fan of that show.
Carol Ann, is it Susie?
Yes.
All right. Recently passed away, for those who don't know, and she played the voice of your character's mother on Big Bang Theory. I saw the caption at the end of the episode where it said, we miss you and what have you. Is there any talk about addressing her further in the series? Because this isn't your last season. You got one more, right?
We two more. This is 8, and we'll go through 10. We have begun to address it. It hasn't aired yet, so right. We've shot. We're shooting some now that start to deal with that. I guess I won't say. I don't even know if it's in the press, but we're going to be very respectful and tasteful, and we're not replacing her. So I guess
she's up there now with not that she wasn't successful in her own right, but the mom character is up there in legendary TV status with like Vera from Cheers, and Maris from Frasier, and Carlton the doorman from Rhoda. Yeah. So she's one of those characters that was always there, you heard from but never saw. Yeah, and it gives that kind of mystique to it. That you're like, I'm kind of glad we didn't see what she looked like, because it leaves it to the imagination of what Howard's mom really is.
I think that was the idea all along, and and she's well deserving of all this attention, and I'm happy it finally was given to her. She was a lovely woman.
Simon Helberg. Simon Helberg on Twitter. Do you do Instagram?
I don't. I should probably, right?
No, you don't.
Okay. All right. I'm all right. I'm overwhelmed as it is. Please.
The movie is We'll Never Have Paris. It's on demand in some theaters around the country. Definitely go see it. Thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate you coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Dr. Horrible too, you think?
I hope. Everyone to ask, can someone start writing letters to Joss? If he could just drop this whole Avengers thing. It's not going to work.
Quit wasting your time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.